There's nothing more important because that's ROT. That's how you get paid.
So the big question is, what are top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? To get the answers, we interview top real estate agents to learn their secrets to success. Listen, we believe every agent should make a minimum of $100,000 per year, and we're on a mission to make this happen. We've already helped over 100 agents achieve this with our coaching. So if you want to fast track your business growth, get to your first $100,000 in GCI or add another $100,000 in GCI using social strategies, then head over to go.eliteagentsecrets.com, or you can just click the link in the description below. Also, just make sure to follow us, hit that subscribe button, and if you get any value from this at all, please tell a friend and leave us a review. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
We talked, one of the items is working the schedule, of course. And when we talk about working the schedule.
That was the perfect transition, Gavin, because I was going to say, we're talking about back-to-back meetings and scheduling. And I was thinking, let's dive into it, because you are working a tight ship and you got to get all your practice in and the market understanding and working with clients and showing homes and not getting distracted by cute dogs, which is one of my biggest failings in life. So give us a run through, especially for our listeners, what you see as a successful schedule, because we're all different. Again, me and Peter have different ideas of scheduling, how we just function differently throughout the day, and one works for me and one works for him. But we both have schedules, they're just different. So break down to us working on a schedule.
Well, and you started out perfectly, which is everyone has a different schedule. No one has the same schedule. And if someone wants to make their schedule your schedule, good luck. That's not going to work out because we have different things in life we do, each and every one of us. And we have different children, some have boys, girls, different sporting events. You never know what you got going on. Okay. And what I tell everyone is they should take 3 to 4 weeks and write down what they do. 3 to 4 weeks. Don't fill it with junk. Write down what you really did for 3 to 4 weeks. From the time you get up from bed until the time you go to bed, write down what you did. If you went to the fridge and got a snack, write it down. If you had lunch at this time, write it down. If you missed lunch, write it down. Create a balance. It's basically like a budget. If you're not looking back on what you spent your money on, and really that's the way you need to think of it, because I look at ROT and ROI. Okay, ROI, return on investment. ROT, return on time. If we're not focusing on ROT, then how can we be productive and increase our cash flow, increase our production without the ability to have a plan on how we're doing that? How many more phone calls do we need to make to do that? How many more showings do we need to go on? How many more appointments do we need to have? What do we need to do to increase our income? Well, you can't do any of that if you don't have a schedule to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to increase my income by working more of these hours, by increasing this. So it starts with that 4-week pattern of understanding what time you have truly available and what you need to cut in life to make more time available sometimes also.
So you coincides, do you separate or coincide schedule and routine then? Are they separate for you or the same? Because you're like, that's more of a macro, like a month. So what do you say about like weekly, daily actions? Do you break it down, hourly by the day?
I break it down by 15-minute increments. Okay. So it starts out, and it's down to the point I read somewhere one day is the most basic task should be scheduled so that you don't have to worry about them. So they don't take any room in your mind to have to think about. So, I know every day I get up at 6:30. I brush my teeth at 6:45. It's literally in the schedule. And it is that detailed. But the benefit is at any point in time, I can adjust. I can adjust the schedule fairly rapidly. I know that there's different alarms that go off. The big things that don't change are my showing times. They won't change. They're done on 3-month schedules and they won't change. Because I have to work around showing times. And And a lot of the agents that work with me have children. And, we started really digging into this schedule thing because if you're constantly adjusting your showing time, you're constantly adjusting what your children, babysitters, things, life is going on. So by having this set 3-month schedule, you're able to actually plan life, and kind of like we were talking about the day off, you're able to plan your day off.
Yeah.
And you're able to have a life with your family and enjoy it. Enjoy the rewards of working hard.
See, that's a very interesting concept, because now that I think about it, it would be so much easier if every day or every set amount of days I had a dedicated showing time where I did nothing other than showings, instead of trying to figure out what that looks like for the next day or the following day or the day after that. Just kind of, going at 100 miles an hour, having the ability to be nimble, but then I'm finding myself not having the time to do showings because I'm so packed with other things.
Right. And then what makes you money?
Showing houses, closing deals.
That's right. So if we're not showing houses, we're not making money. And sometimes the craze of everything else gets us bogged down with all the other tasks that we're doing, and we're not doing what we're supposed to do, which is show houses to make money or go to listings to list homes.
Yeah.
There's nothing more important, because that's ROT. That's how you get paid.
So then how do you communicate with clients? Like, let's say they call you, like, while we're on this podcast, do you have a dedicated time you get back to your clients, or what is that level of communication and level of expectation set around something like that?
So I have 4 different call times to return emails and calls each day. They're 20-minute blocks to return calls from anybody coming in throughout the day. So I never miss a phone call that you're not getting a call back from me within 2 hours.
Okay.
So, and the benefit of that is I can hit more clients more rapidly. So, if you're an afternoon person, you're going to call me in the afternoon. If you're a morning person, you're going to call me in the morning. Then you have some people calling just midday that are concerned. I know when I step out of my appointment at 9:00, I have a call time, so usually my first appointment is at 9. I'm going to step out about 9:45, 10 o'clock. I have in between 9:45 to 10:15 to return any phone calls I have on my phone left to do. My last return call time is at 7:45 in the evening. Now, when I say take a day off, I don't say do not return calls. I'm still going to have 3 days in my day off to return calls. Just like when I'm on vacation, I'm going to have 3 different times in the day to return calls.
And do you play phone tag with clients, or just set that level of expectation? Like, hey, if you need to get a hold of me, here's some times that I am either available. What if you run over and you have 5 phone calls you need to return and you only returned 1? Does that fall into the next block, I'm assuming?
It falls into the next block if you run over. Now, here's the benefit. I haven't ran over because I know, okay, I have 5 or 6 phone calls to make. These are going to be quick. I ask my clients up front, if you need something, shoot me a text. I'm going to respond to you quicker that way because I'm in and out of showings. But just like you, when I'm with you, I'm with you. I'm showing you a property. I'm not here to play on my phone.
Yes.
So when I step out of that appointment, I'm going to respond to you. My goal is to make sure I get back to you within 2 hours. Sometimes it might be a little later than that. If it is a problem, let me know in the text. Make sure I know the item that you're calling me about so that I have time to research it and make sure I have that available for you when I get a hold of you.
One of the ideas that someone else shared with us that we actually really liked, I'm not sure if you've ever thought about this, was actually about giving your clients who need to speak to you a Calendly link for like a 5-10 minute appointment time, so that they can actually schedule a time and like it's in your calendar and they do it. Now we were there, we're like, fuck, we schedule meetings all the time. We never thought about giving a client a Calendly link so they can schedule 10 minutes to chat to you.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
To me, we set them up so well up front. They already have the expectation set.
Yeah.
So I know I have X, Y, and Z times to call back. I'm going to call them back because I want to have that discussion. I don't prefer to talk via text or email. I prefer to talk via phone also, which is a little different than most.
Yeah.
Depending on the age of my client will depend on how we're going to communicate. But I find a lot of things get lost in translation via text sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. There is definitely that. It's the context, isn't it? It's like you're now just reading a written word and you just lose all emotion. So stuff was not harsh at all can somehow get misconstrued as like, oh, shit. Listen, we've all been there, many different scenarios. We're not talking about just business.
This happened to me this morning, because like we're very straightforward. So sometimes being straightforward can definitely get misinterpreted when you're reading a text because there's no fluff.
Right.
No filler.
No fluff,
no filler at all.
I do like that. One of the things that I would get a little bit of anxiety about, which is probably just a story in my head, would be not having enough time to return those calls in the blocks that I'm giving. But as you're operating at such a high and efficient level, you have to block it out. Otherwise, it kind of trickles into the next thing that you're doing. So,
well, that, and you also owe your clients that. You owe your clients. I've never had an issue not being able to call someone back. I've never had an issue, and knock on wood, where someone came to me and said, "Hey, you weren't there when I needed you," because every day has a set task. So each day we schedule to do appointments, and each day we schedule to call people back. But that's not our entire day.
Yeah.
We have other tasks in those days, and some of those tasks are follow-up. We already have planned follow-up.
Yeah.
So the only reason you're going to call me is because you have a question for some reason that came to mind after our follow-up conversation.
Yeah. It's an extremely regimented way of doing it, which is interesting. I think it's like your idea of a schedule for me is like it's like I couldn't do that. I can tell, like, I've tried it. Because we always talk about this because I think Peter leans more that way than I do. But for me, I need to do 5 things today, and I get them done in a day. But the idea of time blocking to me, like if I had whatever brain cells I've got, it would destroy them. Because I like the idea of me going, and this is what I love about scheduling. Because it's always like, one thing works for one person, it doesn't work for another. And that's the beauty of it. If you just went, you need to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C in today, and I would get it done, but I just wouldn't do it within like a 15-minute here, 20-minute there. Maybe that's a chicken, head cut off a chicken, just running around like a fucking mental. Part of
the thing that's kind of interesting with that is too, is what you're saying. You're task oriented, and task oriented is great. Actually, to be quite frank, I'm task oriented. Creating a schedule was like going on a diet for me.
Yeah.
Creating this structure was very difficult in the beginning. And I did it for 60 days. And once I did it for 60 days, it was simple. And the reason is I have my task in my day. And kind of one of the fun parts of that is the quicker I get my task done, so the quicker I make X amount of appointments, I make X amount of phone calls, I make sure all my clients are good. Guess what I get to do? That's the quicker I get to go have fun doing something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. It makes complete sense, actually. Gavin, now what I want to do is wrap up here, but I want to give you the floor first. So if you've got something going on, whether you want referral partners, buying or selling homes, people wanting in your area, whether you're looking to grow a team, whether you got something else going on that you want to let people know about, how could people learn more, reach out, whether it's phone, email, socials, website, let people know where to find you.
Well, that's pretty simple. We're at shankgroup.com, and we're also at Northwest Ohio Homes. And my email is gavinjshank@hotmail.com. If you're looking for real estate in our area, reach out. If you're looking to become better at your trade, reach out. We would love to have a discussion. We do training sessions every other week in our office just to help agents out and do better at what they're doing. And I really appreciate you guys having me on. This has been fun. We should do it again sometime.
I loved it, Gavin. Everyone, we hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode as much as we have, chatting with Gavin here, and we will see you in the next one. Oh, and by the way, if you're listening to this and you aren't making over $100,000 per year in GCI, and you're looking for a predictable system to get you there, then head over to go.eliteagentsecrets.com.